Welcome to Stonewatch. This is my open spoiler discussion for Marvel Studios' Moon Knight Episode 4. And if you haven't already, please smash the subscribe button and click on that bell so you can notify for future videos. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up. And wow, man, I gotta say, this episode was so damn awesome and pretty damn trippy, especially with that what I'm calling the WandaVision twist. What do I mean by that? I'll get to more of that in a minute. Now, the dynamic duo Justin Benson and Aaron Moorhead returned to direct their second of 2 episodes for this miniseries. And Alex Meehan, Peter Cameron, and Sabir Prezeda are the writers for the episode this week. Now, the title for this episode is called The Tomb. Now, we had a runtime of 53 minutes. Now, that's 3 episodes in a row we had the same amount of runtime. Now, I gotta say right off the bat, I've been actually watching the recaps for this series, which I didn't normally do, but out of curiosity, I did watch one, and I found out that there was a scene that follows right after the recaps. Like, you get the recap and it kind of shows you what they want you to focus on in this episode, and then it flows right into this scene that we get right before the MCU title card. Now, this week we got to see Osiris's avatar, who has Khonshu's Ushapi, puts it in a wall, which I'm assuming is in the Great Pyramid of Giza. Now, it appears that there's now according to Screen Crush's breakdown, they counted up to 10 different other gods that's on this wall. Now, they listed like a couple possible ones that could be on there, because I couldn't tell what they were, but if you look close enough, you could probably see shapes and stuff like that. But they said they saw the protector god Sebet and Anubis, the god of the afterlife. Now, again, I couldn't see the shapes that they were pointing out, but maybe. I mean, there are obviously 10 other gods, including Khonshu, that's on this wall. So anything's possible, right? Now, like I said, I like how this show really leans into the whole Indiana Jones feel. You know what I mean? And especially in this episode, because it felt like Indiana Jones in The Last Crusade when they got to Amit's tomb. You know what I mean? And I thought it was kind of funny how Mark was getting all mad that Steve was getting the hots for Layla. And Steve actually kisses Layla. Now, I seen a couple of breakdown videos, and they kept on saying how that they were leaning more into the third personality in this episode. I mean, I saw a couple things that it could have been like in this scene. Oh shit. Now, that was either a third personality that we don't know yet that actually did that to Steven, or that was Mark, who was trying to get Steve back for kissing his wife. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't see too many people bringing that up. I mean, right before this happens, he kissed his wife, technically, right? So what would most guys do? You know what I mean? And I also thought that the zombie priest was kind of freaky, and I jumped when the hands popped out of the wall and grabbed Layla, even though I knew it was coming. You saw it from a mile away, and then she instinctively. The flare thing was definitely her weapon of choice in this episode. You know what I mean? Because she took out those gun guys from Harold earlier on in the episode, and she takes out the zombie priest with the flare, and then she throws him off the cliff. So I thought this was a pretty cool scene. It was really freaky. And now Steven reaches the tomb first.
Topmost 2. Nefertiti. Oh, it's got to be one of the big ones.
And as he's looking over the sarcophagus, he comes to the realization that this is the long lost tomb of Alexander the Great. But is it just me, or does the face on this sarcophagus kind of looks like Kang? Now, I don't know much about the character Kang or what have you, and I think there's one storyline where he does go back to ancient Egypt and what have you. I'm not really positive on that one. I think I heard somebody saying about something like that. But this face right here on this sarcophagus kind of looks like Kang from Loki. Is it just me? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Arthur confronts Layla after her bout with the zombie mummy priest, and he tells her pretty much that her father was killed by a bunch of mercenaries. Now, he knew the name and everything, so I wonder where he got his information from. And he leads her to believe that that Mark was there, and he kind of hints it towards the fact that he actually might also be responsible for that. So I thought that was kind of interesting that he said that. And then after she leaves, Steve finds the Ushapi for Amit, and when Layla comes into the tomb, he shows her it, and he's all proud that they actually found it. But then she starts asking him questions like, was he there and everything else. And when he switches over to B Mark, he pretty much confesses to his comic book origin. I mean, they didn't flash back to it or anything, but he did say it was his partner that, got greedy and killed the whole entire crew on the dig site and what have you. He didn't say who it was, like if it was a Bushman character, or could it possibly be another one of Mark's personalities that actually did it. But he does admit to actually being here, so it's confirming his comic book origin, which I thought was pretty cool that they actually did that. But then Harold and crew actually show up. Layla takes off because she's going to try to find her way out, and I think she's got the Ushapi for Amit. And then the next thing you know, Mark is trying to buy her time, and he ends up getting shot by Harold twice. Now this is where the WandaVision type twist comes into play, at least as far as I'm concerned. Maybe not quite as much, but at least that's what I'm calling it for right now. We find that Mark is inside this insane asylum. Now, in this insane asylum, all the characters that we've seen in this show up to this point show up in this place in some shape or form, whether they are a patient in this place or they're one of the staff members that work there. Like the two cops were orderlies and stuff like that, and Harold turns out to be one of the psychiatrists or what have you that works in the mental ward. And
to me, this is a writing utensil. To my dog, it's a chew toy. Both are accurate.
Right? And then he kind of wakes up to he feels like he's being drugged, and when he kind of gets himself out of it, he escapes. He ends up going into this random room, right? Which I thought was kind of weird. Of all the rooms that he had to pick, he picks this random room to hide in as they're chasing him and what have you. And there's a sarcophagus in it, and he opens it up, and Steve is in it. Now they're both there. They're both in some kind of physical form. So it's this all in his head, or at least that's what they're trying to maybe lead you to believe, or maybe we're in the afterlife or something, but they're totally in separate bodies and they can't really understand what's going on, but they both remember the last thing that happened to them. Harold shot them. Now, as they're trying to escape, they're going down this hallway, and in another room, there is another sarcophagus. It's red, shaking pretty bad, but they don't go in there for whatever reason. Now, I see some people online speculating that this could be the third personality that we have yet to meet. Some people believe it could be Jake Lockley in there, or it could be a whole nother personality altogether, but for whatever reason, Mark and Steven do not go in there. They continue on down the hallway. And when they get to the end of the hallway, they run into the goddess Tararat, who's part human, part hippopotamus, and part lion. So she has the body of a human, a head of a hippopotamus, and the feet of a lion. Now, she is the protective goddess of pregnant women and newborns. Why she's talking to these two, I don't really know. They scream as she says hello, and then the show pretty much stops right there. Now, I'm not really sure what's going to happen in the next 2 weeks. I'm hoping that the runtime stays consistent for these next 2 episodes. I think they've got a lot they need to tie up here, right? We need to find out whether or not if Mark and Steven are dead and how they're going to come back. Are they going to actually save Khonshu? Are they actually going to get back in time to save Layla? Because she was left in that tomb with Harold and crew, and we don't know whether or not if she got out or not, right? Now, we are down to the last 2 episodes of this series, and I'm really liking this series. I literally love the mystery of it, you know what I'm saying? So right now, if I were to rank all the MCU shows just going by these 4 episodes, I'm still going to put Falcon and Winter Soldier at number 1, WandaVision at number 2, and as of right now, Moon Knight is in a solid 3rd place, followed by Loki and ending in with Hawkeye. Sorry, man, but that's the way I'm really liking these shows. Now, they can really mess that up here in the next 2 weeks, right? But who knows? But we do know as of right now that Disney is not really planning on doing a 2nd season for Moon Knight or Hawkeye, because there was a story that broke over on comicbookmovie.com, and this story goes on to say, Variety has shared some insights in Marvel Studios' MA plans, which might just confirm future plans or not for some of the shows we've seen from them on Disney+. WandaVision may have missed out on the top prize last time, but is still dominated with 23 nominations. Kevin Feige and company are understandably looking for the same level of success next time around. After announcing plans for a 2nd season in the final post-credits scene, you probably won't be shocked to learn that Loki will no longer be submitted as a limited series. Instead, it will compete in the highly competitive drama categories, but Hawkeye and Moon Knight will not. Now, again, I'm not really all that bummed that they're not doing a 2nd season of the Hawkeye, but I am kind of bummed right now they're not doing a second season of Moon Knight. But then again, we have yet to see the next 2 episodes. There may not be a story for Moon Knight after this is all said and done with. I think they're going to use the character more later on down the road because he was a member of the West Coast Avengers, so he could possibly show up in the next Avenger movie if we actually get one, right? So I don't know. Like I said, I love this series and I cannot wait to see what they do next week. So did you see the 4th episode of Moon Knight? Let me know in the comments down below. Where does this thing rank with you with all the other MCU shows we got so far? Let me know in the comments down below. And who do you think was in that red sarcophagus? Let me know in the comments down below. I mean, again, this show is awesome. It's been nothing but insane, and I can't wait to see what they do next. So let me know what you think in the comments down below.